Hi, it's Melissa here, and I'm back today with the latest sketch that's been revealed over at Let's Get Sketchy, and it's by Probite. So I'm using my January hip kit, and I decided to use this beautiful paper by Dear Lizzie, and I thought the best way to feature it would be to cut it up and have it as the largest piece in the background. I'm scrapping two photos that are a lot bigger than the photos that are shown in the sketch, but I didn't want to crop them down too much because they really show what I'm wanting to tell in the story that I'm telling, which is about my baby. So the largest piece of paper had a postage stamp edge, but I decided to use this punch, and it's a floral. It makes a floral edge. And my sister had sent it to me from London several years ago, and I always have to remind myself to use it because it is really pretty. I'm someone that tends to go for distressing the edges or my scallop punch, and so it's good to get it out and just remind myself to use it. So the sketch had the edge on all four sides of the paper, but I decided to just to do it on two. So I showed you there how I cut my banner notches, and I just measure it on my trimmer, find the centre, and then cut a triangle from each side. The papers in this kit are just so beautiful. Each month it's better and better, and it's just amazing really how they all work together. And I find that the reverse sides, the B sides, work with the A sides as well. So here I want to use this tag, but it's going to sit up too high, so I'm just trimming it with my X-Acto knife so I can pop it over the photo where the heart is. I've actually changed my setup with my camera, so this is the second video I've made, and you're going to have to excuse my head, which appears when I get really close to the page, because I'm still mucking around with setting it up better. And the main reason I've changed it was because I really had to do something about the shaking that was happening every time I was filming from the camera being bumped. So here I'm playing around with my watercolours, and I found a great technique by accident. I mean, it's probably a technique that exists already, but it's new for me. And one day I was using my watercolours and I put too much water down, so I blotted it with a paper towel. Now I found that actually makes a really good effect because you can concentrate, well, it comes out darker, and then when you blot it, it comes out lighter, so you can get a really cool effect with more or less water when you blot. And so rather than looking, I guess, even, it gives it it breaks up, that's what I'm trying to say, it breaks up the colour, so you don't just get the one tone of colour, you get several. So I was kind of trying to colour match a bit, and so I had to get the right shade there, so I mixed a few colours. Just a matter of playing around and just seeing how much water. See, if I'd left that pink how it was just then, it would have dried very intense, but I like the way that the blotting tones down the colour. Yeah, I'm adding a little bit more green there. Wasn't entirely happy with the pink, how it came out like a circle, but as I've said before, I just carry on and make it work, really. I love watching Vilna Furstenberg because she always says she's not about perfection, and I guess when it comes to mixed media, I'm not about perfection either because I like the messy sort of look that you get. Okay, so I'm just ran my finger down there because I think I was deciding to stitch with my sewing machine. And here I'm just trying to work out where to put those photos. Now, I absolutely love this sketch because it had a bow on it. Now these sketches, just because there's a bow on it doesn't mean you have to use a bow. It's really a place for a large embellishment. However, I loved it so much that I thought I'm going to go with the bow. I was either going to do like a prize ribbon or a bow, and I've actually got a die that makes bows in two different sizes, but I decided let's go with a real bow. So I keep packaging. I keep tissue paper, ribbon, various trims. Whenever someone has a birthday or it's Christmas in this house, I'm the one that goes around and grabs all the ribbons before my daughter can. So this is, I think, is a ribbon that my mum gave my daughter. And initially I'd envisioned a really long ribbon, but I went to iron it and I had the iron on too high and I actually burnt it, so wasn't good. Now, here's the painful part of this video, which is me trying to decide where to place the ribbon. And I've actually cut out quite a lot of me trying to place the ribbon because it's really not very thrilling. Decided at this point that I need to trim those tails off. And you'll see that there's, yeah, you can see I've cut some off there. So I've decided to tuck the doily behind there. And now it's a matter of where do I place the ribbon. There's 3 positions. There's the corner of that photo, there's the join on the banners, or there's at the top with the doily. And I don't really want the ribbon to hang down onto the photo because it's blocking her head. That's a cut apart. That's a branding strip that I cut off. And I like it. The hearts really work well. So I want to place it. See, I'm indecisive, so I've probably at this point decided I'll deal with that later and just leave it for now. So that's where I want the banner to go. And I know I want to stitch down the middle, so I want to put some adhesive down to hold it in place, but not too much. So here I'm stitching on the edge, excuse me, on the edge of that border, and I'm only stitching where I've done the border punch, so it's only on 2 sides. Okay, what I didn't show you was I stitched down the middle of that banner as well, and I'm back to placing the bow. So this layout is about my baby girl. She's 10 months as of yesterday, but I can't quite remember when this photo was taken, but before she started solids, she was really quite dribbly. And in fact, this may even be after starting solids, but anyway, teething, a dribbly baby, and before starting solids, she was a spilly baby who would spill after every feed, and then could immediately, and could also spill while playing on the floor. So I'd put a bib on her all the time. And I've actually had that with all 3 of my babies. I've had to wear bibs for quite a long time. So this photo is quite funny because every time I put a bib on her, the bib would end up on her back like a cape. And so I just wanted to document that because it's something different about this baby, unlike my other 2. They never did that. And so I kind of joke that she's a super baby because she's got that on like a cape. She's a superhero. So when I put this on Instagram, I think all I wrote was, she wears her bib like a cape. And it's something I don't want to forget because she doesn't need a bib anymore, only for food time. And so it's something I'll never see again with her. So it's these kind of everyday moments that are important for me to document and put into her scrapbook. So I'm popping that tag up because I need a bit more dimension. The bow obviously is going to provide a lot of dimension, but I want a bit more interest. And I've put 2 lengths of string onto the top of the tag. And I'm also popping up those banners. That paper there, the navy, it's got flowers on it. It's absolutely beautiful, and I think I was watching Oh Snap Gonzo today, Sandra, and she was saying the same thing, that she has to just cut it sparingly to use on every layout, and I feel the same way. It's just really unusual. So these are the Heidi Swap ephemera pack. There is so much in here, it's almost unbelievable. I'm going to have to make a layout that's just full of these die cuts just to get them used up. So what I found on the corner of where I've punched is that the flower edge hasn't really lined up, so It's a bit uneven, a bit of an uneven cut, so I want something to cover that. But I don't want whatever I place there to be so dominant that it draws the eye away from the photo too much. So at this stage I'm going with that flower. I think that's actually what I go with. Okay, just playing around to see what works. And I want to balance it. I don't want to just have a random flower. I want to balance it with a flower up there as well. Now it's got these really awesome acetate clear pieces, so it's just a matter of placing the glue or the adhesive in a position where it can't be seen. I love how that looks tucked in there. Ideally I wouldn't want something down there on the corner, but it bugs me too much that it looks uneven, so the best way to deal with it is to cover it up, and that's what I'm doing. Just popping up the corners of the photos there, just to provide a bit more dimension. And here I'm just trying to work out how I want to do my title. I thought about calling it Moments, I thought about calling it Everyday Moments. I also thought about the title being She Wears Her Bib Like a Cape, but it was too much. So I loved how this yellow acetate die cut looked, so I've decided to staple it down. Now that's the easiest way to attach those when there's no way to hide the adhesive, and I love the interest that the staples add. So I'm doing my journaling and just explaining what happens with her, and I love these puffy stickers. They have a really nice texture and feel to them. Sounds crazy, but if you've got these puffy stickers you'll know what I mean. Now that one I couldn't make work. I think the colour takes away too much from the bow. I love that they're really forgiving. You can lift them up if you don't leave them down for too long. Now that butterfly helps to bridge the gap between that random flower and the photo, so that works. And the heart floating above just looks really good as well, so I go with that. This month, well, last month, January, the kit had exclusive flair for hip kit, so I don't want to hoard those, I want to get them down. The wood grain of that cork is not really working with the wood grain of the tag, so I've decided not to use that. And here I'm just playing with, I know I want to use that little strip, but it's working out where the best place is, which is right there. And you'll see that I don't run it right to the end of the photo. I like having a bit of difference, I guess. Uneven. Makes it more playful. It's a real treat to get some enamel dots in the kit, because here in New Zealand they are like gold, I guess, they're so expensive. Doing my India ink as always, and I've got to be careful here because of that tag. I wasn't going to do the ink drops, but I think that it helps set off the photos and set off the whole layout. And I always find that because I often do black, that it really grounds the layout in some way. Now that Dear Lizzie stamp came with the kit, and I'm making a really big effort to use it, so I've stamped the word oh my, and at this point I've decided to double stamp. So a good trick to do if you haven't double stamped is you stamp it once and then stamp it on your layout, so then you don't get the darker impression first off. Now I've trimmed that tag string because it was too long, and there's the final layout. I hot glued the bow down and I'm really happy with it. Thanks for watching.